My dear friends, in today's gospel, Jesus says, "No one can come to me unless drawn by my Father." I just want to concentrate today's reflection on this particular verse because I think this is a verse that has been very often misquoted and misunderstood. Well, when we speak this verse or when we quote this verse, it has got an inclusive character, while at the same time excluding so many others. So Jesus is not coming to a system of reductionism where we put out a group of people saying that they are not attracted by Father. No, that is not the truth. But in fact, Jesus is opening us to the sovereignty of God. Jesus is explicitly saying the gift to remain with Him or the gift to follow Jesus comes from God. Two things are being stressed here: that your natural birth or being a part of a nation does not mean that you have opening to God's grace. But at the same time, Jesus is also reiterating that the acceptance to be with Jesus comes as a matter of your correspondence with God's graces. This, in fact, plays a vital role. Therefore, Jesus says, "No one can come to me unless my Father draws them to me." Clark says, no, it is this attraction from God that makes us feel the need of a Savior in our lives. So this, in fact, is an opening for each one of us, my dear friends, on how much Jesus is important in our lives. To put it in terms that we understand better. I remember as a theology student, I had to ask a doubt about the concept of grace that was taught by the great theologian CARMEL. Because most of the terminologies were in German and I couldn't quite grasp what his theological understanding was. As I approached one of my professors, he told me, it is a very simple concept that all of us have been given grace universally. God has deposited gift of grace in the hearts of each one of us. Well, it is up to us on how we develop it. Because unless we correspond to it and develop it in the right manner, this grace is not going to be of any help to us. So, natural birth or being a part of the nation does not bring us any fruit unless what has been given to us has been properly corresponded to or has been properly handled with. So we need to allow God's grace to grow. So this is important, my dear friends. When God has given an invitation to participate in the mystery of the life of Jesus, through which to attain redemption, when we turn it down, it is in fact a turning down of God Himself, because we cannot go to God the Father unless we go through Jesus. No one can come to my Father unless through me. Jesus says it very clearly. And no one can come to me unless drawn by my Father. So my dear friends, we need to make things very clear here. Where are we in this journey? Have we accepted Christ? Have we accepted His teaching? Have we become His disciples? Because we need to have this attitude of the disciples as we see portrayed in the Gospel of Mark 3, where Jesus says, the evangelist says, He called to Him those whom He wanted and they went to Him. So to go to Jesus is very important. To go to Jesus. So when God the Father attracts us to go to Jesus, we need to make a choice. It is not a movement of the feet, it is a movement of the heart. We need to make sure that our hearts are inclined to Jesus and that God does not force us to follow Jesus. He has given us choice. So let it be with volition, with freedom, and let it be a personal choice. May God bless you.